Going to 50%. Right about there. And stable toga. And off we go.
V1. Rotate.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Flight Sim 008 video with Fly UK. Kind of an ad hoc flight today, as a buddy of mine is going through an ATC exam up in Reykjavik, Iceland. It's not a particularly short flight, even coming from the closest suitable departure airport, which today is Dublin. Not that cushy new Terminal 2 though. We're at Terminal 1, for reasons. Either way, he's in need of some traffic, so I thought I'd oblige and head on down for his exam session. Our trusty steed is the 737-800, and without further ado, let's jump in the flight deck and get set up. Alright, let's get this show on the road. We've already got the fuel loaded, and we're just waiting for boarding now. We are taking 24,560 pounds of fuel. That's 53%. That's just enough to get us there and back, should something go awry. And our planned payload is 11 in first class, 133 in the cattle class, 6,500 in the forward, and 8,000 in the rear, giving us a CG of 23.9. So, over into the FMC, our ARAC data is up to date, which is good. We go to the pause init, we are at EIDW, Dublin Airport, and we'll go ahead and grab the GPS location from the left, because I'm left-handed, why not? There we go, insta-align for the win, and we are doing that to BIKF, Keflavik, IKF01 company route. We are, come on, I'm just gonna adjust the camera angle a little bit. There we go. Turn down the brightness too. I don't like when it's, the HDR settings make all the screens blue when they're at full intensity, full brightness, so I'll just turn down a couple of these, like so. Get to the other side in just a moment. Okay, so that's in. Runway we'll leave blank for now. UKV 1786 is our call sign. And let's just see if everything is loaded in there properly. Up a little bit. Go into the plan mode, like so. I'm going to turn these to hectopascals, like so. And plan mode. Plan. So we've got Newry, which is our first waypoint. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, make things a little easier to see. So from Dublin to Newry, Abson, Bell, Barku, Ratsu, whoops, step, and our last one is Nasbu. That all looks good to me. Go into our init ref, and we'll let the PMDG figure everything out. Our reserve fuel, hang on one second, I'm not prepared for that. Final reserve is 2.3. Now let's put 2.3. We're going to land with a lot more than that if we land in Keflavik, but hey-ho. 26. We are going to 380 eventually. And the transition, I believe it's either 5 or 6 out of Dublin. Let's put 5. I'll check the charts and get back to that in just a bit. 5 there. Cruise wind. Average winds are 044 at 6. 044 at 6. Like so. And top of climb minus 45. Can I put that in like that? Yeah, there we go. Cool. We'll go ahead and execute that for now. We won't do our takeoff calculations yet because we don't have a departure runway. I'll check the weather and all that good stuff, and we'll enter that all in. And the altimeter is 995. So quick B key, and that checks out. Good. Cool. All right, so that's in there. Surface winds are showing 250 at 21, so I'm going to go off of runway 28 because it's nice and long, and we are going to take the Nevera 1 Alpha, which is essentially a straight out to OEN, I guess that's the OENDB, and then a right turn on course to DWN 29, and then up to Nevri. That looks good to me. Route, activate, execute. Now we can do our takeoff. So we're going to go with the D rate of takeoff to 22k D rate, rather. I'm not going to put in a selected outside temperature just because that wind makes me nervous. 21 knots, even though it's only a 30-degree crosswind, I'm just going to keep it at that. We'll keep the climb at full power climb. We're not going to derate the climb at all. We'll do flaps 5. We'll let it figure out the C of G. We will put in our runway wind, which is 250 at 21. There is no slope, and we will be reducing at 1500, acceleration at 3000. That looks good to me. Previous page, plug these guys in. 151 is what we're looking for, and it started to rain. Wonderful, just as the passengers are starting to board. No jet bridge here at this stand at Dublin, so everybody's outside getting soaking wet. Oh well, not my problem. Is there an alt constraint on the SID? There's 3,000 or above, so we will stop at 5, which is the transition, by the way. For now, probably just plug in our final cruise altitude right after departure. Actually, that's what I wanted to say. There is, looking at this route, there was an altitude constraint for the airways we're taking all the way up to Bell, if I'm not mistaken. Just give me 1 second here while I quickly look on my flight plan. Bell... Yeah, okay, so at Belfast, we're clear to climb up to our 380, but at Abson, it's got to be 250 or below, which looks fine based on our climb performance calculations on the NGX, but what I'll do just in case is I'll put that constraint in at Abson so that it knows that we cannot climb above 250, flight level 250, before reaching Abson. Okay, so this stays on the takeoff page. We can get rid of that. I will darken the screens here, like so. We're done fueling, so the seatbelt signs goes on. And let's go ahead and fire up the APU. Like so. Hydraulics, yaw damper can come on. Pitot heat stays off. Packs, everything's good. We'll turn the engine bleeds off just for now. 360 is set in the window. I don't have the landing elevation yet, but that's fine. We've got 2 hours to set it up. That can go to RTO. We will pull the parking brake and tune to Unicom 122.8. We will squawk 2200, and that looks good to me. So we'll finish boarding up the passengers, and we'll get on our way here over to Keflavik. Alright, everybody's on board. We're going to go ahead and close the doors, like so. And we'll close the cargo doors, like so. Turn. Still no ATC on here in Dublin, that's fine. We'll get ATC along the way, or at least in Keflavik for our landing. 122.8 is set. Turn on our transponder, TA only. Actually, transponder on the ground. Like so. And we'll put traffic. We'll take terrain on this side. I'm definitely going to take weather on my side because it's on and off showers, and we've got some clouds and some little bit of weather here in Dublin. Should be fine for the cruise. So that's all set, and we'll turn on the beacon. And we're just waiting for the guys downstairs. Oh, are you ready? Are we ready? Departure check completed. Bypass blah blah blah. Release the parking brake. So, clock started on the FO side. We will turn off the packs, like so. Wait for that bleed air to adjust. We'll go ahead and fire up number 1. And 2, rising slowly. There we go. Picking itself up now. EGT's fine. You can hear it. Engine 1 spooling, and we'll introduce the fuel. Parking brake. Parking brake is set. Fuel flow. There we go. EGT's rising. All of that is fine for now. Just waiting for starter cutout. There we go, starter cutout. Engine is stable. No more warnings here on engine 1. Let's go ahead and fire 2. Start valve is open. And 2 rising. Oil pressure's rising. Fuel. Fuel's going in, EGT rising. Oil pressure rising slowly. Oil temp. Waiting for the cutout. Cutout. Start valve still open. There we go. That is closed. We're good there. So we can go ahead and get off the engine page. 24.5 tons of fuel. Good. Let's get the trim set up because I tend to forget that one. 5.6 is what we're looking for takeoff. So coming up slowly. There's 5. That's about good. Alright, that's good with me. And let's see, we need these go to continuous. We can switch off the APU bleed, switch on the engine bleed. That goes to auto. Switch over the buses. Off goes the APU. On goes the packs. On goes the probe heat. On goes the hydraulics. Everything else looks good on the overhead. Gen 1. Gen 2. Beautiful. Alright, flaps. Flaps 5. 3 notches. 2, 5. There we go. Let's do a quick controls check. Do we have... Yes, we do have that option. Okay, so full left. Full right. Full up. full down, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Alright, let's get that taxi light on. Release the parking brake. And get rid of the systems page. And I may have selected the wrong direction to push in because we're going in a that early direction. And it looks like this is either a dead end or maybe we'll have to make a U-turn here at that next right turn. But that's okay. A little bit more power. Get us started. There's our Aer Lingus ground crew getting soaking wet. I don't know why they're still... Normal ground crews would just head inside right after the pushback and, you know, go grab a coffee or whatnot. Nobody likes to sit out in the rain. I'm gonna give myself a notch of wipers on both sides. Rolling, we can ease off the power. Bring the power back in just prior to the turn so that we can have continuous thrust through this turn so we don't slow down. There we go. We'll follow this line all the way out and then make a left turn coming up before we hit that. The runway's basically just up here. So what we'll do is we'll make a left turn coming up. And then we'll head all the way to the threshold of runway 28. Nice long runway. Gotta zoom back in. Oops, nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Beautiful. I think we had a Ryanair parked here over to our left. See if we can get a view of that as we make the turn. Actually, is this a taxiway or is this the... Yeah, it's a taxiway. So what we'll do, yeah, link 4, and then we'll make a left here. Onto taxiway... I missed the sign. I should have my ground charts out. We'll take a better look at the charts when we get to Keflavik, when it actually matters, when my buddy's actually controlling. Fox 3, apparently, is what is painted on the ground. So, maybe this is Foxtrot? I don't know. Altimeter has changed to 996. So I'll just plug that in. I noticed that because we seem to be either at or below ground, which we are certainly not, and it stopped raining, so click those off. Whoops. Sorry about that. Where's that Ryanair? Oh, there he is. Halfway inside the building. Alright then. Moving on. Take off the power now. Nice 17-knot clip. Okay, we are coming up to the threshold. It's a combined threshold here, so we've got runway 36 and 28. Easy mistake to make to misidentify and line up for the wrong one. I've heard stories of people, and I wouldn't put it past myself to do that either. So you can see the signs marked on the ground here for runway 34 and 28. So that's definitely something to be careful of. And the reason I turned on the transponder a little bit early is just to make sure that nobody's coming in. We will hold short. We will announce our intentions. Go put that on. Just want to make sure that there's nobody coming in and we're not conflicting with anybody. And it doesn't look like it. I'm going to come to a stop here, just at the hold short point. And we'll advise the cabin. We'll get on our way. Okay, TrackIR is on, and we can turn on strobe lights on even. These can go on, these can go on. All the shiny switches. So the first hard right is going to be runway 34. We do not want runway 34, we want runway 28, so that's going to be the soft right, the second one if you will. And I'm going to do it on the roll, so we'll go ahead and start the clock. Transponder is on, Unicom is set, trim, flaps, RTO, good to go. A little bit more power here. So that's our runway that early. Turn's coming in. As we come out of this right turn, I'm going to 50%. Right about there. And stable toga. And off we go. Speed's building nicely. There's 80. Be nice if I was on the center of the runway, but that's in a perfect world. And we don't live in a perfect world. Feeding in a little bit of right rudder here for the crosswind, adjusting for that. It's 20 knots. It's only 20 degrees or so offset, but it is definitely
V1.
requiring a little bit of rudder input.
V2.
And a little bit late on the rotation there, but that's fine. Positive rate. Gears coming up. There we go. Ugh, what an ugly day. Alright, gear is up, lights are off. Gonna hand fly it a little bit here. Require a little bit of down trim. There we go. Just trying to keep it a little bit below that magenta line so that we can pick our speed back up, and now back up. There we go. Beauty to hand fly. I forgot the weather radar, didn't I? I knew it. I knew it. Oh well. That can go off. That can go off. We'll get the lights in a second. So we're in climb power. Just waiting for that bug up speed. There we go. We can start to pitch down now. Nose is coming down slightly. There we go. A little bit of trim. Accelerating nicely here. Don't want to accelerate too fast. We do have a turn coming up. Well, that was a little bit too much down trim. I can sort of still see the ground. Flaps coming to 1. We had 1,000 to go. That was that ding there. We'll complete the turn, and then we'll plug in the autopilot. Here comes the turn. Nice and gentle. A little bit more nose up as we're accelerating through 230. I'm keeping intentionally 1 notch of flaps. We'll see if we can level off. We're going to bust this 5,000 here. That's okay. Oh, maybe not. A little bit. Whoops. Yeah, now we're going back down. A little bit of up. Controls are a little bit heavier today. I'm not sure if I did something to my joystick. Ooh. Alright, we'll bring the rest of the flaps up because I'm getting a little bit too close to that barber pole, the speed barber pole there. Roll out of the turn. Not some of my best flying. I'm going to blame that 27 knot wind. I'm going to plug in the autopilot as well. It knows what it's doing better than I do. I'm going to turn off TrackIR. Definitely turn off the wipers. You can turn that off. Take the retractables out. And let's climb to, it was 25, I believe, that we were not to climb above. before Belfast. So with that plugged in, alt constraint, N1, 250 knots, and here we go. Power's coming back in, climb rate going up. Yeah, frame rate's a little bit laggy. I think it's all the cloud. Go ahead and standardize, whoops, nope, standard. It's standard on the altimeters. Going to sync up my heading. Doing that the long way around, but hey ho. There we go. We'll pull back a little bit on the old ND. Nothing coming up on the weather radar, that's interesting. I guess that kind of makes sense because there's really nothing above us at this point. Bring that out to 20. Bring this out to 40. So there's our Absun, which is towards Belfast, I believe. And that's our 250 or below, so we plugged in 250. Once we get past this constraint, once we approach the constraint, I will reevaluate and possibly clear it and continue up to 380. In the meantime, keeping the passengers seated for the instant, just as we clear the tops of these clouds here, just in case, and then we'll reevaluate once we've accelerated away. Coming up to 10,000, go ahead and turn the lights off. Not that we needed these three anyways. There we go, 10,000, accelerating now to our cruise, or our climb speed rather. The only online ATC is Manchester ground, so bleh. What are you gonna do? Yeah, that there should be that there. Which makes sense to me, and there's some over there that corresponds to that. So the weather radar is working, that's good to know. I feel like I'm a little bit too far forward in my seat, like I'm too close. Does that, yeah, I don't know why I'm so far forward. Usually I sit not in the headrest, but at least a little bit further back, kind of like a viscerally position. Oh well. And what else? That's pretty much it. Clear this little turn here to the north. Sync up the heading a little bit prematurely, and then we'll release the passengers, and away we go. Now, if you'll notice, our level off at 25,000 feet is after ABSIM. If it was before, that means we would have leveled off and stayed there until afterwards, but because it's after ABSIM, then I'm going to scroll all the way up to our cruise, which is I believe it was 3.6. Is it 3.6? What did I put in here? Yeah, 3.6. So I'm putting 3.6 in just because I know that we won't level off beforehand, so we're going to be passing underneath 250 before ABSIM. And that's pretty much it for the takeoff. It's just a cruise, and then our descent planning and landing in Keflavik.